Now to the aftershocks following the Supreme Court's decision striking down affirmative action at universities.
The court's conservative majority ruling 6-3 that race cannot be a factor in admissions. WGN's Julian Cruz in the newsroom with reaction. Hi, Julian.
Hey, Micah. Legal experts still working to assess the impact of the ruling, a ruling that has been widely anticipated. People and institutions across the country speaking out, from senators to congressmen to former presidents.
I think we need to really reflect upon the value of diversity.
Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul reacting to today's Supreme Court decision, along with Governor J.B. Pritzker and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson sounding off. In a written statement, Johnson saying, quote, "This decision will only further divide communities and strain existing inequities in higher education." Former First Lady Michelle Obama worried about the impact. "My heart breaks for any young person out there who is wondering what their future holds," she says, "and what kinds of chances will be open to them." Former President Donald Trump applauding today's ruling. "Our greatest minds must be cherished," he says, and that's what this wonderful day has brought. The Centennial Institute in Colorado praising the decision. "As the court has held," spokespeople say, "equal protection under the law means equal protection under the law. We applaud the U.S. Supreme Court for rejecting race-based admission processes in higher education."
While the court can render a decision, it cannot change what America stands for.
President Joe Biden reacting to the explosive ruling, the U.S. Supreme Court by a 6-3 vote essentially striking down affirmative action in higher ed. Chief Justice John Roberts writing the majority opinion saying, quote, "Eliminating racial discrimination means eliminating all of it." Roberts arguing Harvard and the University of North Carolina admissions programs unavoidably employed race in a negative manner involving stereotyping.
It's not a surprise.
At a Northwestern University virtual press conference, constitutional law experts, sociologists, and political science professors weighing in on today's controversial ruling.
This is a narrow ruling. The Supreme Court has not said anything about, for example, pipeline programs, where universities try to ensure that they have a diverse and equitable applicant pool.
Something like 30% to 40% of the spaces at these elite schools are encumbered before admissions even starts. They're encumbered because of the use of legacy admissions, athletics.
It's almost unthinkable that universities like Chicago or Northwestern will not be training the next generation of Black and Hispanic leaders.
So I wonder if there's a needle left to thread, and whether or not, and if there is, whether some guidance along those lines is going to be coming from the executive branch.
The White House vowing to provide that guidance, tasking the Department of Education and the Justice Department to present resources and guidance to universities on what can or cannot be considered when it comes to lawful admissions practices. Adding to the day's drama, the discovery of a suspicious package in D.C. near the Supreme Court, Capitol Police quickly evacuating the area near the courthouse, which has become crowded with demonstrators on both sides of the affirmative action debate. Now, legal experts say that today's ruling could spill over into other areas with lawsuits against things like corporate diversity programs. In the newsroom, Julian Cruz, WGN News.
A lot more to discuss on this, Julian. And the Supreme Court decision on affirmative action could cause a drop in the number of Black and Latino students who attend some universities. The New York Times examined enrollment at public universities in states that already ban race-conscious admissions. Michigan passed a ban in 2006 when Black undergraduate students at the University of Michigan made up 7% of the student body. 15 years later, in 2021, Black undergrad enrollment fell to 4%. Same story in California, where some selective universities passed a similar ban in 1996. That year, Black students made up 7% of the population at UCLA. 2 years later, Black student population fell to about 3.5%.